I have the cutest card to share with you today, and it features a balloon stencil and a die cut that match. Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske coming at you from the circle inside my studio, and today I'm going to show you how I made this card. It's coming up next. Here's a look at the products I'll be using today, and this is a really fun background from Waffle Flower called Balloon Background. And I have the coordinating stencils to add color to my balloons, which I'm going to use today. I also have the print and script Happy Birthday. There are two different styles. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to get started by die cutting this first, and I'm going to try something different today for my ink blending. So let's get started. Today I thought I would use my stamp wheel, and this I recently got from Altenew, so they sent this to me, and I want to try using it to just hold my die cut in place for the ink blending and stenciling. I haven't even really stamped with this yet, but I thought this would be fun to try. So let's take out the stencils, and in this pack there are 3, so we have isolated areas in all 3. Now if I hold these up, I can kind of envision where it goes, but I'm just going to do 3 colors, and what's cool about this stencil is that it really does give me the, oh, is that moving? Hold still, you stick. This is new to me. It really does give me the isolation that I'm looking for on each balloon. I just have to line it up. All right, like that, that. And now I'm just gonna press it all down on this sticky mat. Now I'm going to grab my color, the first one I'm going to use, which is Carnation from Simon Says Stamp. Let me get my brush, and I'm just going to do a little clean off of my brush, and these are the Waffle Flower brushes, and let's just see what happens. I've got my 2 other colors here, which are Peachy and Lemonade, and I guess, what do I want to do? Do I want it to be darker on the left side? Probably. So I'm going to tap a little off here on my mat, my glass mat, just because, you know, I don't want it to be, I want it to be darker on one side, right? And then just fade it out. Like that. Oh, a little darker there. And then I don't even think I really have to hold this. I think it really does hold it in place nicely. Okay, there's one. Let's pick this up over here. Do the same thing over here. Darker on the outside. And then just bring it in. This is, I think, one of the first times I've done the die cut first and blended on with the stencil, but I've seen this done in other videos from other content creators, and I'm like, that's actually really smart. Let's do that. All right, this friend here. And again, just darker on the outside. Fade it out. Actually, that is holding it in place really well. Look at that, one-handed. Kind of cool. Okay, over here. I think it's just instinctual to hold, but I really think I can get away with not doing that. And again, softly to the right. And then I can just deepen these on the outside of each balloon for one color. So what I'm going to do is I'll proceed with the next 2 layers. I'll put on some music, and we'll add the rest of the color to the panel. Look at how cute that is. And this isn't very stuck at all. It comes right up. That is so fun. All right, I think what I'm going to do is actually cut out just a couple more layers of this to build up dimension and set that aside for my card panel. And then I'm going to pick out my greeting. And I'll just wipe this little sticky mat off. And yeah, that was fun for holding stencils in place. Very cool. All right, I'll put that away. I actually think I'm just going to flick on a little bit of water onto this. I'm just going to put this, I'm not going to do it with my hands because I always get too globby with my hands, but I think I'll just wet this and just put a few flicks on with my brush just to add a little texture, visual texture. And let's just pat that off. Just for a little. It doesn't do a lot, but just a little. All right, moving on. Actually, I changed my mind on this. I just put some foam tape on the back because that's a little easier than gluing more cardstock together. So that panel is ready for my card. Now it's time to figure out the greeting. I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of the styles of greeting, the two different ones, out of some Neenah Solar White Classic Crest. Now we have some choices to make. Where's my little pokey friend? There we go. There we go. And we can just decide, because I like that little seraphy. Ooh, that is very cute. Ooh, I like that. Okay, we'll just pop them all out. Don't forget the tittle, of course. So we have our script and we have our basically a basic serif type. And you know, this is, oh, I think that is so cute. Because honestly, all I'm going to do is build up some dimension, right, with these by gluing a few together and figuring out a nice placement. Now, of course, I could mix and match too. That's what's kind of cool about these if I wanted to. Let's get all these popped out. Okay, I need my little foam pad. I use a foam pad for this, and that just makes it easier so that I don't worry about the delicate pieces. You just kind of push it through on the foam pad, right? And they come out nicely, and you don't bend your piece. Any piece of like foam will do. This is just an old pad that I've had for years. See, that's what I don't know. Do I want to mix and match my type styles? Because it is a cool thing to do. Now, of course, there are shadow layers for this too. I'm just not sure yet if I'm going to do a shadow layer, because here you could just do a nice little, center that, but align right that on there. Now I'm going to obviously put this on a note card. Or, let's see. Oh, this isn't the pickup. Here's the pickup. Or pick that up out of the way. And what would it look like to do a script with the birthday? And that's actually kind of fun too, but I feel like that gets a little lost on this without the shadow layer. So I think what I'm going to do is just keep those aside, and I'm going to cut out a few more of these. I may do, I don't know if I want to do the shadow layers on this. I think it would be cleaner not that way, but again, I haven't 100% figured out also where I'm going to put the greeting. So let me cut out some more of these, and I will glue them together off camera, 3 layers up to have some dimension. We'll make our note card and we'll figure out the final design. I'm going to spray some Craft Bond by Elmer's onto the back of a couple other of the die cut layers. I'm going to put a little mask on, do that off camera, and then I can adhere them to these. I'll repeat for this one. I am going to make my note card, and this is going to be a top folding USA 2. So this is 11 inches by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to score this right at 5 1/2. Like that. Okay. And fold that down, give that a nice press with my Teflon bone folder. That's our note card. And then we are going to pop this up so you can see how it goes right to the edge. You could cut it if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I like how this looks with the white cardstock showing through. So I'm going to tape this down to my mat just so it does not move while I'm figuring out my placement. And actually, I could zoom in here a little. And I'm going to take all the backers off. All right, then I'm going to take some of my liquid glue, and I am going to put liquid glue all over, just little swirls on the foam, just to give me a little bit of float time before I commit to my placement, because the foam sticks so hard and fast. But if you put just a little bit of liquid glue, it'll give you that little bit of float time. I wonder if I can, I don't know if I need to do tweezers on this, but I'm going to stand up and look down. So if my head gets in the way, I apologize. I just want it to be contained in the space like that. Maybe a little bit over. Isn't that fun? Just the fun dimension that you have here. And now that's where I can figure out, how do I want to play? Because I like the idea that this might be down here, but I've got to watch that dot over the I, right? I've got to make sure that I have enough room for it. So if the happy's there, we could pop that to be off to the right. We could center it. We could drop it down. Actually, kind of like that. But make sure again that I have enough room for the eyes. So I don't know if I'm low enough though. You know what I mean? I feel like if you're gonna go in the lower thirds, 1, 2, 3, you gotta commit. So I feel like this does have to get glued down a little bit further so that this feels like it's down here at the bottom. And again, I'm just gonna kind of go little dots all over. So for wherever it makes the point of contact, or little dots, just little swoop-de-doos, it'll be enough to hold it all in place. Just make sure you get the little serifs of all the letter forms if you're using something like this, to make sure they all stick. Now, we'll go ahead, shift this friend off to the side, making sure that we do have enough room to pop down the tittle, a little dot over the eye. Okay, kind of like that. I'm going to bring in my ruler here real quick, pop that on the edge of the card just to make sure that looks straight. That looks pretty straight. Bring that down just a little. Okay, now I'm going to add the dot right over here, and I'm going to build up this dimension just right on the panel, because it's probably easier to do it than try to stack it on your own. That, again, a little bit of glue. And when you're stacking these little tittles, just make sure you have the right cut side down. And you can usually tell just by looking at it, because when it die cuts, you get that little rounded sort of almost bevel edge. Okay, there we go. Just pop that there like that. Okay, actually that's my wrong. There's my little pointy. I just want to push that in a little like that. So now I have the dot over the eye, the tittle, and then all I have to do is figure out my placement. And actually, see, that's what I don't know. Do I want it to be, I might actually just want it lined up like that. Letter form to letter form, and that's pretty easy to do. So again, I'll add my liquid glue. And that was probably not my best way to position this. I should hold it here. There we go. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just look to the letter form, line it up, drop it down, get it as close as I can, making sure that these sides are lined up, and I'm pretty sure that I've got that there. Let's come here. Yeah, come over just a little, like that. cute. Okay, so it's got all this like shadow and dimension with the balloons and that pretty blend. Also, my camera is making the yellows look more green yellow, but it's really more of a warm color. All right, let's figure out what we can do to add a little bit of shine or bling. I think for this card, I'm going to use some of my Clearly Enough enamel dots. I love these. I sort of hoard them because sometimes they're out of stock. Because the thing that's fun about these, they're really easy to place, right? You can just put them on the end of a craft pick, right? And then just pop one down. And what I love is they add a little shine without being too much, right? And if you don't love where you put them, you can easily lift them up until you commit. So that's what I like to do. I like to kind of just get a little arrangement here. And I'm just going to have a couple more, I think, up top. Right? Just a few, maybe like 5 total. Maybe one over here. And do a small one up here. Although, you know what I could do? Even though I love my odd numbers, right? You can, so that's 5, but you know what? You can also do odd gatherings as well. So here we have 1, 2, 3 little clusters, and I think that's all I'm going to do to finish out just a little bit of something with some shine and subtle dimension to finish out the card. And that's my finished card. I love that. Just the texture. I love how cool the stencil works with this die. And I feel like this is a really all-purpose birthday die because you could do other things with this where you only take a partial, right? And have just part of it hanging off your card and trim off the excess. That gives me some more ideas too. I always like to take the most basic approach when I get some new products to play with, but that is the finished card project for the day. Thanks so much for watching. You can find links to all of the supplies I used in today's video in the YouTube description box. I'll also have a link to a blog post if you want to check that out. And please become a subscriber if you're not already, and I will see you back here with another card project soon. Here are a few more projects featuring fun products from Waffle Flower Crafts that you might want to check out. I'll see you in those videos.